Welcome, everyone, to Session 1. Let's start with a foundational question that sounds deceptively simple. What is a construction contract? If you ask a lawyer, they'll tell you it's a legally binding agreement where one party builds and the other party pays. But if you ask a project manager on a chaotic, rain-slicked job site at 4 p.m. on a Friday, they will tell you something completely different. They'll tell you it's a risk allocation map. Think of a construction contract as an explicit agreement on how two parties are going to share the unpredictable future. Who pays if we dig up the ground and find unexpected Roman ruins? Who pays if a global supply chain crisis doubles the price of structural steel overnight? Who takes the blame if it rains for 3 weeks straight? A construction contract doesn't just buy a building, it buys an agreed-upon set of rules for how two organizations will handle reality when things don't go according to plan. Now imagine you want to build a major commercial building. You could sit down with a blank piece of paper and write a completely custom contract from scratch. We call these bespoke contracts. But writing a bespoke contract for a complex project is like trying to invent a completely new language right before you start a conversation. It's incredibly expensive. It takes months of legal posturing and, worst of all, it creates massive blind spots. Because it's unique, neither side truly understands how the clauses will play out when a dispute hits. This is why the global construction industry relies heavily on standard forms of contract. These are pre-drafted, battle-tested frameworks written by objective industry bodies, engineers, and legal experts. Instead of reinventing the wheel, the industry uses a time-tested blueprint. Why do we use them? 3 massive reasons. Certainty. Both the client and the contractor already know the rules. There are no nasty legal surprises hidden in page 400. Let's do a quick mental check to see how this works in the real world. Every single construction contract in existence is trying to balance 3 things: time, cost, and quality. If a standard form contract pushes all the risk of time and cost onto the contractor, what do you think naturally happens to quality? The contractor is forced to cut corners to protect their profit margins. Standard forms are engineered to keep this in perfect equilibrium. They don't try to cheat one side. They create a balanced ecosystem where the project actually has a chance to succeed. So which standard playbooks do we actually use? Depending on where you are in the world and what kind of project you are running, you will encounter different families of standard forms. Let's look at the big 3. FIDIC, the international standard. If you are building a mega dam in Africa, a highway across Asia, or an airport funded by the World Bank, you are almost certainly using FIDIC. It is the global heavyweight, famous for its color-coded books, like the Red Book for Design by Client, or the Yellow Book for Plant and Design Build. JCT, the traditional UK standard. The Joint Contracts Tribunal is highly popular in the UK commercial property sector. It represents the traditional approach to contracting, where roles are strictly divided and risk is allocated in clear, distinct buckets. NEC, the collaborative modern tool. This is the contract family this masterclass is built around. Unlike traditional forms that act like referees waiting to penalize a foul, NEC acts like a co-pilot. It uses plain English, strips out legal jargon, and forces both parties to manage the project. To wrap up our very first session, remember this. A construction contract is not a weapon to be used when a project fails. It is the operational playbook you use to ensure it succeeds. Standard forms of contract give us the language to build safely, efficiently, and predictably. Now that we know what a contract is and why we use standard forms, we are ready to open up the hood of our specific engine. In Session 2, we are going to look closely at the NEC suite.